movies since the murder of his father, Peter Porco, and the attempted murder of his mother, Joan Porco. The gruesome crime happened in...
The Porco family seemed like the perfect residential dream, until one brutal night turned it into a nightmare. Peter Porco was found hacked to death in his own home. His wife, Joan, barely clung to life. The most chilling part? The prime suspect was their own son, Christopher. It was just another quiet Monday morning in the small, peaceful town of Del Mar, New York. The kind of place where nothing bad ever really happens. But that illusion crushed on November 15, 2004. Inside a cozy two-story home on Broccoli Drive, 52-year-old Peter Porco was found dead, his head brutally cracked with an axe. Upstairs, his wife Joan was hanging to life in their blood-soaked bed. She had been struck repeatedly in the face and head. The attack left her permanently disfigured. She lost one of her eyes, part of her skull, and suffered severe injuries. And yet, the most haunting part of this story isn't the violence itself. It's what Peter did after it happened. Somehow, after suffering massive head trauma, Peter woke up. Distracted and confused, he got out of bed and started going through his usual morning routine, almost like nothing had happened. How is that even possible? It sounds like something out of a horror film, but medically, it can happen. When the brain suffers massive injury, especially in the frontal lobe, the body can sometimes fall into what's called automatic behavior. Basically, your brain is running on autopilot. You're not thinking, you're just doing. Repeating the same routines you've done 1,000 times. Even so, he wrote a check to his son Christopher, made a sandwich, and even tried to load the dishwasher. Moments later, he collapsed near the front door and died. The murder weapon, a fireman's axe from the family's own garage, was quietly left behind. There was no forced entry, nothing stolen, and no sign of a stranger in the night. The police didn't have to look far. They were already starting to suspect someone from inside the family. That someone was Christopher Porco, the youngest son, a 21-year-old college student at the University of Rochester, more than 200 miles away. He told reporters he found out about the attack from a phone call, but something about his story and his behavior felt off, very off. And when investigators started digging, they uncovered a trail of lies, secrets, and betrayal that no one saw coming. Legal action a few weeks after the attack, in November 2004, the Albany County District Attorney, Paul Klein, decided it was time to bring in a grand jury. He wanted to see if there was enough evidence to formally charge Christopher Porco. Behind closed doors, friends from college, a campus safety officer, and even a former girlfriend all came forward to share what they knew, or thought they knew, about Christopher. Their stories painted a picture that didn't quite match the charming image Christopher tried to project. After hearing months of reports and digging deeper into the case, the grand jury finally made their decision. In November 2005, exactly 1 year after the horrifying attack on his parents, Christopher Porco was officially indicted. Burglaries. As the investigation deepened, a shocking truth emerged. Christopher Porco wasn't just a son in trouble. He was a master of betrayal. He broke into his own parents' home, not once, but multiple times, stealing laptops, even selling one on eBay like it was nothing. Dude was so smart, he actually turned around and sold it on eBay like, who even thinks of that? Genius move, kinda wild, but still genius. In 2002, he staged a break-in so careless it left behind a discarded camera, a silent clue to his guilt. Just weeks before the attack, Christopher and his brother's eBay accounts were shut down for scams. But Christopher took it further. He impersonated his own brother in cold, cruel emails, claiming Jonathan was dead to cover his lies. The betrayal wasn't just deep, it was chilling. the burglar alarm. The morning of November 15, 2004, looked like a home invasion. But something felt wrong. The Porco family's alarm system had been quietly turned off using their own code. No forced entry. Then the phone line was cut. Classic break-in moves. But it was too perfect, too clean. The police realized this wasn't a stranger's work. All signs pointed to one person, Christopher. Financial problems and forgery. By early 2004, the perfect image of Christopher Porco was breaking apart. Behind his smile, he was lying and hurting his family. While he was away, his parents discovered his failing grades. Instead of facing the truth, Christopher lied, even found a fake transcript to stay in school. Money added to the pain. He took out huge loans and bought a Jeep, using his father's name without permission. When Peter confronted him, Christopher denied everything. 2 weeks before the attack, Peter begged for honesty, warning his son about the consequences. But the lies kept coming. Even after the betrayal, Peter's last words were full of love. "We may be disappointed, but we still love you and care about your future." Those words would haunt them all. Jonathan Porco, point. Jonathan Porco, Christopher's brother, took the stand at the trial. His cold and distant attitude, along with the painful way he described their strained relationship, left a deep impression on the jury, showing just how broken their family really was. Porco's character. Police believed Christopher Porco showed signs of psychopathy or sociopathy, meaning he was a pathological liar, scammer, and lacked remorse. He lied to get a car and tuition money, and even fooled classmates into thinking he came from a wealthy family. Some experts say the police interviews missed the mark because they didn't handle Porco's likely psychopathic traits properly during questioning. Porco's movement, Christopher Porco, said he spent the night quietly asleep in a dorm lounge. But shadows of doubt quickly grew. Late on November 14th, a yellow Jeep Wrangler, his Jeep, was spotted speeding past Rochester. Hours later, it rushed through Albany in the dead of night. Security cameras captured the Jeep leaving campus at 10:30 p.m. and returning at 8:30 a.m., the very hours his parents were attacked. A neighbor's eyes caught the Jeep parked in the Porco driveway that night. And students? None saw Christopher in the dorm. The pieces didn't just fail to fit, they pointed straight to him. Veterinary clinic job. Porco's boss, veterinarian John Kearney, testified that Christopher was trained to clean up after animal surgeries. Jurors later said this helped explain why no blood was found in Porco's Jeep after the attack. The conflicting truth. Joan Porco's struggle detective Christopher Bodish remembered a tense moment at the Porco home. While Joan was still barely conscious, he asked if she could identify her attacker. She agreed yes when asked if it was someone in the family. When questioned about her older son Jonathan, she shook her head no. But when it came to Christopher, she agreed yes, pointing to a chilling possibility. But the story didn't end there. After waking from a medically induced coma, Joan said she couldn't recall the attack and believed Christopher was innocent. In a grand jury video, she stayed silent about naming her son. Therefore, months later, Joan shocked everyone by writing a heartfelt letter, urging authorities to stop blaming Christopher and to find her husband Peter's real killer, hoping for peace and safety for her family. The truth seemed tangled in pain, confusion, and heartbreak, leaving everyone wondering what really happened that night. Christopher Porco's lawyer, Terrence Kindlon, said police had no solid proof that Christopher attacked his parents. The axe used in the crime didn't have any fingerprints on it, and it came from the family's own garage. Kindlon also said the local police weren't used to serious crime and made up their minds too quickly. He even told the jury, This isn't the FBI. These are guys who chase skateboarders away from 7-Eleven. Another lawyer on the team, Lori Shanks, said maybe the attack had something to do with Christopher's uncle, Frank Porco, who had connections to the mob. Frank had gone to prison before, and his nickname was the Fireman. She pointed out that the weapon used was a fire axe. Maybe that wasn't just a coincidence. The defense argued that police rushed to blame Christopher and ignored other possible suspects. The trial and what happened next. It was a trial that stunned everyone. A son accused of destroying the very family that loved him. Christopher Porco stood charged with murdering his father, Peter, and nearly killing his mother, Joan, in a brutal axe attack inside their home. What followed was a courtroom filled with grief, betrayal, and painful questions no family should ever face. The trial began in June 2006. As the evidence unfolded, emails, lies, surveillance footage, the picture grew darker. On August 10th, the jury found him guilty. And in December, he was sentenced to 50 years to life in prison. His mother, forever changed, sat just feet away. This wasn't just a trial. It was the end of a family's dream and the start of a nightmare no one saw coming. Aftermath, the pain that never ends. Christopher Porco was sentenced to life in prison, but his fight wasn't over. He appealed again and again, even to the Supreme Court, but was denied every time. The case shocked the nation. It was featured on Forensic Files, 48 Hours, and became a Lifetime movie. Christopher tried to stop the movie, but the story wouldn't be silenced. In 2023, Porco gave an interview from prison, claiming his lawyers missed important evidence that could prove his innocence. But after all this time, nothing can erase the pain his family still feels. Peter and Joan Porco's lives were shattered forever, and some wounds may never heal. Thanks for watching. You're tuned in to True Crime O'Clock. The Porco story is one of those cases that really sticks with you. It's terrifying to think that behind what looked like a perfect family was something so dark. Trust completely shattered, lives changed forever. If this hit you the way it hit us, go ahead and subscribe and turn on notifications. We've got more stories coming that hit just as close to home. And seriously, what would you do if someone in your own family betrayed you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read them all.